What's up, guys?
What's happening?
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Max.
And you're joining back in the Wilderness Whiskey Roundtable podcast.
Crazy. We are back.
Been a bit.
It has been a hot minute.
We had planned on doing some Canada stuff, and due to some technical difficulties and some scheduling issues, so on and so forth, blah, 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 we weren't able to make it happen.
You couldn't do it. We wanted to do it, but here we are. And I think we're going to call this season 2.
Yeah.
You know, we got 10 episodes in before I left, and we had our little hiatus, but we're back. And we mean it.
Yeah, we're going to just try and keep staying consistent. As you all know, this is kind of just for fun. So sometimes stuff happens to where we can't make one every week, but we're sure as hell going to try. We're just looking to bring you guys some fun, interesting content again, and we're going to drink some whiskey and have a blast.
Yeah. So hopefully the little hiatus didn't shy anybody away. Like I said, we have every intention to keep doing this, so excited to get another episode up for everybody to listen to. Obviously, a lot has happened, a lot has changed. We got video.
That is live.
This is live.
Oh, okay.
We got live video, so we'll be up on YouTube now, which is crazy. We got a little new studio space.
Yeah.
Not fully decorated yet. Doesn't look horrible in the background.
Doesn't look great.
No. Got a little Sitka closet back there. Kind of decorating a little bit. You can see
Bottles.
We're doing a little bird dog today, so that's why we got a missing one up there. But
Kind of feel like the newscaster. So
yeah,
Seattle.
if you check behind us, you'll see a storm cloud
rain.
blowing through. Jeepers,
first one back, and I'm
holy
getting
smokes.
Phone calls here. Let me... Of course, it's MediaCom.
Unbelievable.
I needed them to lower my rates, so I'm going to take this quick. No, I'm not. I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding.
We'll do a live negotiation here.
Show you guys how to be good negotiators. Thanks for tuning back in. I'm Tyler. We're going to teach you today how to negotiate a deal with anyone or any business.
Sell me this pen.
Well, should we kick it off?
Yeah.
Some Canadian
So I suppose we'll keep it kind of short and sweet on the Canada side of things, but it was a good season. It was a good first season. It was tough, actually.
Yeah, you guys had kind of a lot of trial and error for sure, which you kind of knew going into it. I know we kind of discussed that. Bad storms.
We had some bad weather.
Yeah.
We had some bad weather. And our spot on the lake is not super friendly when you get an east wind. So it just makes a mess out of the shoreline. So we definitely had to learn from that standpoint. You got to watch the weather pretty close up there.
The new boat where the lake trip got the shit beat out of it.
Yeah. So both of the guide boats got quite a bit of dock rash. We had to divert from the barge, make a new one, get a little beefier, heavier duty one.
Sunk the barge.
Yep. Barge went down.
New barge came kind of
Middle of the
quick,
season?
yeah.
Kinda? Yeah, I mean,
we got it pretty quick though.
We had to throw it together pretty fast. Shifty down here, he actually put it together for us, and we brought it up, I think, in July or something like that. So...
Yeah, what was as far as fishing went, how good or bad was it?
Crazy. I mean, the walleye fishing was unlike anything else. I mean, almost to the point of you'd get bored.
Yep.
I mean, 100 fish a day was literally like you could accidentally do it if you had any idea what you're doing. And I'm talking like 16s to 24s, like all good quality fish. So that fishery, like, we don't have a ton of huge walleyes. I mean, we did have one that got caught at camp that was 29.5, which is a big fish.
That's a huge fish.
That's a really big walleye. But our growing season's so small, so we get a lot of the ones in that 16 to 24 inch range. So, a lot of big pike caught. I wasn't able to crack 40, but I got a 39. I was damn close, but We had, I don't know, probably over 140-inch fish caught over the season.
Jaybird.
So
That's enough. That's enough fishing for sure.
it's crazy.
I know you got a lot more into like the open water stuff, I think, obviously, than even before. Never invited me to anything, but it was fine.
Dude, you had the full invite to come on up. Don't even do that.
I know I did.
Unbelievable.
Well, that gets busy.
Yeah,
especially with the
know
little.
it's tough.
That was kind of the main proponent of it was I wanted to make it up there, but just having the little one being so young and trying to find a good week to do it, it was just like, it's got to be a little more planned out than last minute.
Yeah. And the thing too, like, yes, I hope to God she loves fishing, but that's a place where like it can literally ruin fishing.
Yeah.
Like to have a kid come up there and expect that that's how fishing always is
God.
makes it really tough to take a kid fishing back home because it ain't like that back here.
Yeah, especially in our area. You put that expectancy so high that, oofda, I don't know if I'm going to be able to take her up there.
Oh, she can come up. We'll just have to like break it apart or like strategically make it so that she doesn't catch like too many fish.
Oh boy. Cut the line every time she's got one. Like,
you gotta like,
you lost it.
it's just put on some big gaudy thing that you just can't catch anything on except every once in a while.
Sabotage.
Yeah.
Sabotage. I don't know, sweetheart. Sorry, that's just how it's called fishing, not
fishing.
catching.
Yeah. Oh God, no! It was really cool. I mean, it's different up there. There was like you said, a fair share of learning curves and everything, but I got to blend two of my favorite things together as far as fishing and being outdoors, and then building and carpentry and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was cool.
Yeah, you built a full new cabin, an addition. What else? Those are the two kind of big builds.
Those were
right?
the big builds, yeah. So we built a 16 by 16 cabin for me and my wife, and then we added on to the main cabin. So for the full year, we all stayed in the main cabin and kind of realized like, that's a little tight. We had friends and family up, and like you're packing 7 to 10 people into this little cabin, and it got pretty tight. So it's like, okay, people need their own space. We maybe need to make this a little bit bigger. Like our dining room kitchen was way too small to support everybody, So it's like one of those things where it's like that definitely made it significantly more comfortable for everybody up there. And it turned out pretty freaking sweet. So I think everybody's going to be pretty happy when they get back up next year.
Hell yeah. And I know how, like, especially, so, like, my wife and my family, we go to a different resort every year for a week during the summer. And I know each different cabin set and everything, they're all different. And I know we've been in ones that are really great and been in ones that were like, holy crap, this hasn't been updated since it was built.
Yeah.
Almost 100 years ago. And so finding that kind of in between, because obviously you're pushing more for the fishing.
Right.
But you also want it to be, a little bit updated and somewhat nice, because it just adds to the experience. Yeah,
so that was something that was a huge focus for us this year was, renovating the cabins. They definitely needed a new little touch. Mm-hmm. So, Sarah, as far as her decorating and everything like that made those a lot nicer.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, I know when we were prepping for it, especially the decorations that were going up there it was like, whoa.
Yeah. There was no expense spared as far as like making this place a lot nicer, which is really cool.
Yeah. Sarah seemed to know what the hell she was doing too.
Yeah.
She had a vision.
I think that decorating thing is a huge forte for her.
My wife and I are so freaking terrible at it. We don't have a picture on our wall of the family.
Yeah, you guys need to spruce the house up.
Oh my god, I hate decorating, and my wife does too. So I feel like some people have that bug, and some
it's
people
like they got that decorating bone in their body. Mm-hmm. Like you have to have it.
Yep.
So no, it's turning into a pretty cool place. I mean, it's when we left, it's definitely something to be pretty proud of.
Yeah, I mean, you put in super long hours up there, and between the actual just work part of it too, almost more than the fishing part, the way I understood.
Well, yeah, like to be quite honest, I guided more than I thought I was going to for like the clientele that we had. I came into it with the expectation of, like I kind of that multifaceted, like I can help with pretty much anything. So when I take guide trips, awesome. Like that's really, really cool. But also I knew that I was going to be having to do labor work. I was going to be doing marketing, all of that stuff. And I did. I guided significantly more than I actually thought I would. But we had so much stuff to get done too that it was like, it was nonstop. If I wasn't guiding, it was remodel, building, like we'd get up every morning. I'd get up at 5:30, do chores, and then get everybody pushed off. And then it was like, if I'm not guiding, we're working on something, we're retinning roofs, we're building something, we're fixing something, we're, like it was crazy the amount of stuff that came with it.
Yeah, the day's agenda every day was something different for you too, it sounded like.
And that was the funnest part about it, is like we had really good help up there. None of the projects aside from like actually building the cabin was like massive to where like every day was a little bit different. And even when you're building a cabin or building a house, like every day is still different. You come in and you're like, okay, we're framing today, and tomorrow we're laying flooring and framing walls, and then you're doing electrical, and you're doing so it's like every day was still different, but it like there was just so many projects and everything, and it was just so much fun. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, and I remember just listening to you. You had hired some guys from the reservation up there, which they call it the
reserve. Yeah,
in Canada, but skinning the trees for you.
Yeah, and that was a huge help. It was one of those things where it was like that was kind of the job that nobody really, really wanted to do. Like it kind of sucked. But these guys they just do it, like that's just second nature for them up there. Like you have to, if your house on the lake, it's a log cabin, and you go out in your backyard and you cut them and you skin them and you stack them and so it was kind of nice too. Like I don't honestly know if we could have done it all in that same time period,
right,
without having their help. So I mean it was really nice to have them, because obviously we still had everyday tasks. It's not like we could go back 600 yards into the boonies and cut trees down either, so it's like you almost had to have secondary help.
Yeah, when you're kind of remodeling almost the entire resort the way you were, you really, especially with one, you just have your season time,
right?
That's all you get. You're in a time frame, and so yeah, you just get to a point where's my time most valuable to, and it's definitely, to me, wouldn't be skinning trees.
No, and it was like one of those things where like, we didn't know how much time we had either. That was kind of the craziest part about it, was like you didn't know if you had to be out of there by end of September. You didn't know if you were going to make it to November, like, so it's kind of crazy from that standpoint. And obviously, like I said, we had so much stuff to do that this was maybe a longer year than it would normally be. But yeah, it was one of those things where it's like we're kind of still on a time clock, but we don't know when it is. Right. Like that was the craziest. Was you're plugging along, you're doing all this stuff, and it's like you wake up one morning and it's like, gotta go.
Yeah.
Or we ran out of days.
Well, you froze your water line on the last day there.
Yeah, we were lucky that we were able to salvage what we were. We were able to disconnect everything, and hopefully everything looked, I think it's going to be fine. Hopefully everything looks all right. And, we had everything shut down except for the one cabin we were staying in. So, I mean, if anything did go wrong, it's going to be pretty minor. So,
yeah, no, don't listen to me, just come home early.
Just come home earlier. Should have been home a long time ago.
Asshole. What? Sorry. Was the mic on that? Oh, my bad. So sorry.
Shoot.
No, we're glad you're back. We did actually get to do a little bit of, I'd call it nottery.
Nottery.
There's a naughty hurry.
What do you mean?
Well, we got out a little early.
Got out a little early.
Yeah, we went a little ice fishing.
Did a little ice fishing. When this comes out, I mean, there's going to be people that are out fishing already. But yeah, we were out a little early. We did some fishing.
We took the track sled out.
Yeah. So yeah, if you guys obviously have listened, you know that we got a track sled last year. We checked ice. What day was that? Sunday? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We went out, we checked ice Sunday.
In undisclosed locations.
Yeah, just it
I'm not telling you, do it yourself.
wasn't anywhere close to here, so don't even bother checking any of these lakes. They're no good.
We don't even live here.
We checked like 10 different lakes, and actually most of them looked pretty good. There were a couple that needed some work. There were a couple that had kind of shoddy ice. There were a couple of big ones that didn't hardly have anything at all.
Max fell in one.
I did fall in one. We were spud barring, and I got a little lackadaisical, and I took my step before I threw the spud bar and broke through on the shoreline.
It was fine, but it was funny as hell.
It's fine, and it was funny.
His feet. So he's walking along, and he steps up on the ice. As he's throwing his spud bar down, he hits the ground under the water faster than the spud bar hits the ice.
It was one of those things where, we had one open lake. Obviously, didn't have to check anything on that. Everything else we stepped foot on was pretty good, actually. Mm-hmm. So I kind of got a little too relaxed and just kind of expected them all to be like that. And I mean, I think that speaks volumes for just how safe you got to be when you're doing this, because that can happen at any point. It can happen at any depth. I mean, I'm lucky enough that I was wearing knee boots and I did it to, a step off the shoreline. But, it was an eye opener for me too, where I was like, fuck, holy shit,
Mm-hmm. It happens just that quick.
Yeah, and it's sketchy. Like I said, if you're out there in the middle of it,
yeah,
and it happens, like that could be life or death in some situations. So,
well, and as far as Minnesota goes, we've had a couple of reports. Sounds like Duluth, Woodbury, and there's one other county who've already had people rescued. So that's the biggest thing. Number one, take a frickin' spud bar out with you.
Yep.
If you're gonna be on early ice,
suits.
And
I mean,
if you're not in a float suit, just don't go out there until it's confirmed. Like there's 4 inches or more. We both have float suits. We both do our due diligence. We spud bar, do all that stuff. The only reason we took the track sled out was because the lake we found had 5+ inches of ice on it.
And it was good quality ice. It was more than safe. That track sled disperses weight extremely well, arguably even better than walking alone. So it was one of those things, like, we had already checked it. We done our due diligence. There were a couple of other people fishing it. Mm-hmm. We knew it was safe. It's kind of a long walk, so we made the executive decision to run it. And like I said, we wouldn't have done it if it wasn't safe, but
make good choices is what it comes down to. If you kind of half-ass know in your heart that, God, this feels kind of dumb, maybe don't do it.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. Like the lazy approach, the uneducated approach, this is just easier. It's not worth it unless you're entirely 100% confident in it. Mm-hmm. And even then, shit happens.
Well, and we talked about it when we were checking one of the lakes. I was coming out with the auger. Just we were gonna pop a hole. Max had spud barred ahead of me, and it was pretty good ice. But I was like grabbing the auger. I'm like, wow, he kind of spud barred out there. I'm not gonna put my float coat on. And then I was like, why the dumb thought?
It's in the truck. Like,
yeah,
why not?
It took me 10 seconds to put it on, and that's the difference right there. My bibs float, yes, but why not? I was like, I'll just pop a hole in this lake that's got. We came up with 3 inches.
Yeah, three solid inches. Yeah,
some
it was
of
good.
Some of the best 3 I think I've ever seen. Quite honestly, but still, at the end of the day, it was like, I have this thing with me that I spend a lot of money on. Why not use the thing? So don't let your guy brain get the better of you, because Jesus Christ, I do it all the time. And it's like, I even said it out loud to Max. I go, Max, I was just going to walk out there because I was too fucking lazy to put the float coat on.
And just run to zip.
Oh my God. Don't let your brain get the better of you. We're men, and we do live less long than women, and I figured it out on Sunday. Why?
Not the smartest. Just got to think a little more is all.
Creatures of stupid habits.
Yeah.
No, we didn't catch anything. Ultimately.
It was really, really tough fishing. It was nice to get out. I mean, it was one of those, like, knock the rust off trips more than anything. You know, it's like, God, you know, we've been holding out for this. When it gets cold, it's what all of us want to do. If you ice fish, you know, like, this is one of the, like, craziest communities as far as, like, you just hold on to that feeling. Like, the second you see ice on the lake, it's go time. It's, you know, everybody gets excited. It's the only thing you can think about come November. Like,
well, we saw, 6 other people out doing the same thing we were doing.
yeah, on Sunday, driving around, you could see them with their, you know, their float jackets on, like the striker jackets or Eskimo jackets, whatever one they are. But they're, you know, they're easy to pick out. Like, or you see other people pulling into landings, or, you know, or there was a couple people fishing on Sunday even.
Yeah, we did run into a couple. And then it was like every landing we went to, we either seen somebody leaving from, or as we left, somebody else was pulling into it. So
People honking at us, waving.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's that community that is like, I'd say it's so tight knit and it's so hardcore. Like, but again, like, it just falls back to, like, yes, we're all excited to do it. Yes, it's getting close to that time of year. Be safe.
Yep.
You know, like, check all your boxes.
And I'm the first guy to tell you, like, how excited I was this year. Ice fishing's kind of easily my number one hobby. As far as open water fishing goes, I can take it or leave it. If I don't get out, I don't get out. I'd like to get into it more, sure. But ice fishing is like my diehard, want to be out there every chance I can. And so last year being the shit year we had.
Horrible.
It was kind of just like, this year we're just hoping so hard to just make up for that, and it was looking good.
Yeah, and you know, we get in our heads so much, like, this weather that's coming up. We got damn near 50 mile an hour gusts right now. We got some warm weather this weekend. You know, you can't help but kind of be negative in the sense of, like, well, fuck. I mean, yeah, we got some good ice right now, but, like, just a snap of the finger and it's gone, you know. So it's like, we're gonna have to wait and see, but neither of us have great feelings about what the quality ice is gonna look like here at the end of the week.
Yeah, and we're both more realists than we are, like, optimists.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, it's 2 days of 45-degree weather after 50-mile-an-hour winds.
That ain't no good.
No. And so it's just, even if the ice maintains and stays, you're going to have sketchy ice.
Yeah.
You're going to have pockets. You're going to
So
have...
then again, you know, when this comes out, it's gonna be right around that time frame. Don't listen to the fact that people are out ice fishing, but be safe. You know, like, you can bet your ass we're going to go out and we're going to check ice again. We're going to go out in float suits. We're going to go out with spud bars. We're not going to be doing anything crazy. Like, there's going to be a day where we just go out and scout ice again.
Right.
You know, and we shouldn't technically have to do that because we already did it. But based on the weather patterns, it is what it is. You know, we're just going to have to do it.
And don't just expect the ice to maintain and just go off of, like, your intuition, like, oh yeah, no, 2 days of 45, and you know, I don't trust that, and I wouldn't trust the guy who was out there either, because there's a pretty good chance that either A, he zigzagged his way out there,
Yeah, or he got lucky.
You know, do your own freaking scouting. Do not rely on other people, and bring a friend. God damn it! And if you're scouting ice, bring a friend. Don't do it alone.
And you know, this is something we need to be better about too. But, like, bring a rope, bring a harness. You know, like, there's other safety precautions outside of spud bar and float suit. Like, you know, have your ice picks around your neck. Put your cleats on. You know, like, you slip and fall on glare ice and you break through it because you fell on your fat ass. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
that'd be me.
that exactly is what I was thinking about. Like, we had decent ice. It wasn't super thick, but you slip and fall and you poof.
Yeah.
All
Your
of a
ass
sudden
is
you're
going through.
Yeah, it's like, you know, there's just so many things from that standpoint. Like, and, you know, sure, bring a buddy, but bring something for your buddy to help you get you out of the lake.
Yeah.
Because what the fuck? I mean, he would just stand there and watch you go in, and it's not like he can walk out and pick you up.
Come on, bud, get out of there.
Good, just
Good job,
moral
use
support.
your legs.
Go, go, go. So yeah, definitely be safe, be smart about it. Like, it's never anything to play around with. Even when you got 12, 15 inches of ice, there's still sketchy spot, so it's never perfect. It's never great.
Let's go into this season. We want to see less rescues. We want to see more successful fishing, and we want to see everybody go back home to their families at the end of the day.
Yes, we want to see new people getting into the sport. We want to see people having fun catching fish. But at the end of the day, you need to come home from it.
Right, yeah. It's not worth you falling through.
No, it's not.
It's my favorite sport. Like I said, easily. And so when like people go through or people get hurt doing it, it's bad for the sport.
It's sad.
And it's sad.
I think too, we were talking about, we didn't have great fishing, but it was kind of the knock the rust off kind of thing, get used to everything again. We got out there and realized what we forgot, what we need to tune up on, what we need to re-rig, what we, it was kind of one of those outings that was like, it was almost like a relearning curve.
Hit up the Burley Outdoors page, by the way. If anybody else has a track sled, snow dog, anything along those lines, we're looking for some ideas on how to make that thing a little better on the ice there. When there ain't no snow.
So that was another thing too, is, yes, we had plenty of safe ice. We ran that sucker last year on crunchy, hard snow.
Yeah.
And it ran like a charm. And this year we had a light coating, and it wasn't even, a stiff breeze would have knocked it right off the lake. There was nothing
fluffy, floaty snow.
Yeah, it was just, it wasn't anything for the track sled to grab onto, so we were basically running on just glare ice, and it just sat and spun. So if anybody's got any ideas, I know, like we talked about, putting studs in the track and stuff, and I don't know enough about that stuff to know whether or not that's going to cause any issues or hinder performance in any other situations, or what the best approach for that is. But
we're talking to you snowmobile boys out there.
Yeah.
It's a snowmobile track if you don't know what a snow dog is, or a track sled. It's just basically a snowmobile track with handlebars.
Yep. So something to get a little bit more traction on glare ice situations. It was fine up to a certain weight, but once, the load got significant enough, it definitely bogged down and it just sat and spun. Where in the past we've packed on double what we had on there. Mm-hmm. And it just, so it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, you could pull all your gear out behind it, but you couldn't pull everything. It's like people had to walk behind it. It was still better than having to pull a sled out there. Like, the people who had to walk didn't have to pull something. So that's
coming from the guy who got to drive the track sled. No, this is great, folks. I just love it.
Well, maybe if you would have actually split the track sled with me, like you would have, like you said, you could drive it half the time.
God damn it! I'm gonna drop a check off tomorrow. Dropping a check off tomorrow.
It was like I had some stupid little blunders. Like, I put a reel on upside down somehow. Mm-hmm. And like, you take the ice house out for the first time of the year, and it's single digits, and you don't quite remember how cold it gets, and you didn't dress according. It's all stuff like that where it's like you're kind of relearning all of it.
Yeah, every year we do it, it almost feels like you start over. It's like, how do I do this again? I mean, you have the basics, but
right.
You forget how cold it is. You forget how tedious some of it is, like setting up, taking down, getting off the ice. With that being said, though, holy shit, we went quick.
Oh, yeah.
We were off the ice real fast.
Yeah. Once you kind of get in the routine of it, like, we have a little, like, basically a yard trailer that we drive the track sled up into. Both flip overs fit in there. You can throw some other stuff in with it. once you get in the like little routine of, okay, you pull this out first, then you pull this, and you set it up this way, you back the track sled out, hook it all up, and you can fly. You know, so, and it helped too, like Danny got there a little bit later, but she was there to help us kind of clean things up too, and...
Yeah. Something I thought anyways was I still think we brought too much shit out there.
Yeah.
Just... You bring everything to be prepared, but then it ends up just being in the way.
Yeah, it's just clutter, and it's just
Right.
like, you know, we brought fucking 15 rods and used 3 of them. You know, it's like, would the circumstances have been different? You know, maybe, who knows? That's the thing, is like you said, you try to be prepared, but...
Sometimes it's... Most of the time, I'm the advocate for over-preparedness because I pack like 4 pairs of socks for 2 days.
Yeah.
Or 1 day, I guess.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to limited space, which we had a double person sled, and then we had the one person flip
Single
over.
flip over, yep.
And so to use the one person flip over, we had to take all the shit out of it.
Right, and that's the shitty thing with like the track sled too. Well, just in general, I mean, you throw everything into the sled to haul it out there. You got to move it to be able to use it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you pile and dump everything in there, and it's like, okay, where did this go? What did you know? We were looking for an ice scoop, thought it was in there, it wasn't. You dig through everything, thinking it's underneath everything, and it's not. And it's like, oh shit, you know.
The funny thing is too is last week we went. I went to Max's house. We ended up organizing the old garage because he left to Canada before he could do that, so it was an absolute freaking disaster.
I barely even slept in my new house for like 2 days before I left.
Yeah.
Like, it was a shit show. I mean, we had stuff everywhere.
So we went and organized, got all the ice fishing shit together, and then same thing, went to my house, put all this stuff together, made sure the Vexy's working, just checked the lines, checked lures, all that stuff, and even still, we went out and 2 days later, 3 days later, and we still weren't completely prepared.
Yep.
So,
You know, and that's like, you sit and think, like, okay, like, I pulled all my electronics off my boat, put them back on ice shuttles, but you got to remember where all your bolts are, where your machine screws are. You got to remember where your batteries and your chargers are. You got to, like, we do a lot with electronics, obviously, you guys know that, but that means lots of cords, lots of batteries, lots of miscellaneous things.
mm-hmm.
It's a lot, you know, and then you try to film and you try to record and get content while you're doing it. Like, there's so much shit that we have to bring to a lot of these trips and a lot of these outings. Like, it's hard to keep it all straight.
Yeah, especially your first go around, it's just like, fuck, didn't have that. Oh, fuck, didn't have that.
Yeah.
You just keep doing it.
And there's nothing worse. Like, it's one thing to forget something that's, like, not vitally important.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you forget an ice scoop and it's single digits and your hole's freezing and you got ice on your line because you can't clear your hole, and you have to clear it by hand.
That sucked.
And then you got to hope to God you put your glove back on and eventually feel your fingers again. Like,
Right.
you know, those are the ones that really, really suck.
But it's kind of a testament to what we can do, too. I mean, as humans in general.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we're pretty resilient, especially when it comes to ice fishing. It's like, for me anyways, I'm just like, what can I brave for ice fishing? And to me, it's pretty much anything, because that's about the only time I think out of everything I do that I find like a true peace point to where anything elemental is like, even if it
Doesn't
sucks,
really matter.
yeah, even if it sucks, it's like, this really isn't bad. And it's kind of like, you walk off the ice and it's like, oh, I accomplished that. I braved that whole time. My toes were cold, fingers were cold, but it's like, even if we didn't catch anything, it's like I sat outside and enjoyed that fresh air and like...
Yeah, and you still got to do what you love. Like, that's 100%. The thing at the end of the day. Like, it's, again, back to the stupid, like, it's not catching, it's fishing, you know, kind of thing. But, like, We love the chase. We love the act of doing it. Nothing else really matters. Everything else is just icing on the cake. Like,
And if you didn't happen to make it out there, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
no more ice season.
Yeah, we might have got the
only chance.
Might have been out there the only day we can be out there this year. No, we're hoping for more. If not, I'm moving to North Dakota, packing the whole family up.
Here.
Yep. My wife didn't seem too keen on it, but I think she'll get used to it eventually.
Yeah, the double house barn dough in North Dakota.
Yeah, double house barn dough. I think we do it. We've been talking about it. Anybody build a barn dough with their best friend? Because we're thinking about it. Our two families just combining it into a big double-wide barn dough.
Just a fropple.
Who's interested in helping us along this journey?
That'd be kind of cool, get a squad of people together and just build.
We'll take you ice fishing.
Yeah, take you hunting, take you ice fishing.
Yeah,
we'll pay you in our services.
Yeah, absolutely. Max will get you up to Canada for free.
Can do that.
Absolutely.
Can do. We can talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think
does not include gas or any wages.
Not including boat rental, gas, bait, tackle.
I was trying to do the disclosure quickly, but
really
my brain
fast,
doesn't work that fast.
Fine print it.
Uh-huh.
No, I think that's a good little segue into some of these struggles and feelings that we are having currently.
Oh, 100%.
Is this time of year is really, really freaking weird for anybody who, like, thrives doing these outdoor things. Because, so for me, big waterfowl hunter. Love ice fishing. Waterfowl is kind of my jam, though.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on the back end of it. Right? Like, we never really got our big push. We had a super, super mild fall. Hunting was tough. I obviously came back on the back end of it, but it was extremely tough. The only really good hunt I had was on that 1 weekday with the snowstorm, which was like the first weather we had too.
Yeah.
And it was like, yes, I mean, you just assume that that's going to be the day that they do it, so you should be out there. It so happened to work out, but like everything else before that was so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just flip right into like bitterly cold winter and you get this little taste of ice fishing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, okay, like you start to transition out of waterfowl and you're getting ready for ice and everything's locking up. So like all your waterfowl are pushing out of town.
Yep.
And then you go out ice fishing once and then you get all this weather.
In the following weekend, it's going to be gone.
You don't know if you're going to be able to do it. So it's like both things kind of just got like really abruptly yanked out from underneath of you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really, really hard pill to swallow for us people who live and love to be outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
That, what the fuck, what am I going to do for the next 2 weeks?
Right.
I got a goose spread sitting out in our traffic field and my pond just locked up and all my birds got out of town.
Yep.
So it's done. Like, if they're not there, they're not there. So it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, that's where, yesterday I had kind of like a coming to Jesus meeting with myself where it was like, but in the worst way. It's just like you start thinking about that and you're like, well, God, I've looked so forward to this season and then it got cold so fast. And you're like, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to at least have the ice fishing. I went out hunting with you twice for duck and geese. We went out one weekend for the duck.
And it was tough. Like I said, we saw a lot of ducks. They were smart local birds. Just gave us the run around. We killed one goose that day.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just like the epitome of our duck season up until the point of getting this cold weather. And then it just was like, and just locked everything up.
The switch flipped, and that's when we got pretty excited, which maybe it's bad on us, but also...
Yeah, we should probably know better nowadays, but...
But also, like, I remember growing up, it was like if my cousins could say they were going ice fishing on Thanksgiving, it was like a huge thing.
Yes.
And we actually managed to do that. Would have been...
2 years ago.
Was it 2 or 3?
I think it was 2... we were out on Eagle, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Not Eagle.
No.
Wasn't Eagle. Yeah, good luck figuring. There's 100 eagles. Good luck figuring that out.
Doesn't matter. So we weren't on Eagle and we were fishing, and and that was wonderful. And then we had actually a pretty decent season, but that was the last season for 2 years now. And so you kind of amp yourself up for it, and like for me, that's my let go.
Yeah.
That's my cup filling session, if you will. When you need to get away from how stressful life becomes, and it does, especially lately. Everything kind of sucks right now for a lot of people, and we can relate to that very fully. And so when you have that one thing that you're like, yeah, but I got this. And so then it's like presented, and it's like, here's your ice.
Yeah, it's almost like served up on a silver platter, like right at the perfect time, like I was like kind of borderline, like, okay, like when I switch, like I'm gonna switch hard. Like when I'm ready to ice fish, like waterfowl's done. Because it usually is. I mean, if lakes are locked up, the birds are gone. There's the few spots that they're hanging out, but trying to dial that in and stuff like that. I'm just ready to fish.
So we came into grips fully that the goose season's over. And we're like, that's fine.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Oh, well, we're going to have a good ice season. And then they're talking 45, 42, windy, sunny days. And it's like, and then like the lows for the evening temps are
29s. Like it's barely freezing. I don't know how long like how many hours of the day it's going to freeze. It's just one of those things where it's like, shit,
So you get frustrated, and at least we did. And I'm sure there's people who can relate to it, and it sucks. So now you just have to try and figure out, well, what the hell do you do? Do you take a trip? Do you last minute plan a trip up to Red Lake? Because they're bringing 4-wheelers out next weekend, is what it sounds like.
But then the scary thing with that is like Red is notoriously like sketchy for early ice.
I'll just say it, it's dangerous.
It's dangerous, like, sure, people aren't dying.
No.
But, like, there's a solid chance. Like, when you're getting pushed out in the middle of the lake and you're stranded, like, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Everybody does a great job from emergency services and rescue services. Applaud to them. It's sketchy.
And as far as that goes, I'll say, it seems like the resorts this year are a lot more, like, inept at preventing that.
I feel like everybody's handling it significantly better. They made a huge point to be very explicit on this is when we're allowing this type of traffic. There's nothing besides this type of traffic. If it's foot traffic only, it's foot traffic only. It starts Monday morning.
Yep.
If things change, you stay in the flagged off areas, like.
Well, even Red closed, I think it was today or yesterday. They closed. There was for sure 2 resorts I seen on the old Facebook that completely closed all traffic because the winds. They were having some heavy winds up there, and it was south blowing or from the south. I don't remember.
Yeah, we're south right now, or southwest, or something like that. Yeah, so it was
out of the south, and North Lake was still open. So obviously you have an area for the fucking ice to push. So don't go on the ice.
So you got to assume, you got a south wind. Your south resorts should be proactive in the sense of like, hey, if a crack develops, that can obviously push out into Main Lake towards the north. Maybe we should limit our foot traffic, especially not let people cross that crack. Like, I think long gone are the days of land bridges and like stuff like, like let's get them out, a mile and a half out into the lake. If there's a crack, there's a crack. You don't go past it. Let's just try to be smart about it.
Yeah. You gotta use a little bit of common sense with this too. It's not a guaranteed it's not a guarantee that you're gonna be safe, and don't rely on others to maintain your safety.
Yeah.
That's something, again, we touched on it already, but use your brain, you know. If it feels wrong, it probably is.
Yeah. And I think too, like going back to, if it is not safe, don't do it. Yes, it's sad. Yes, it's kind of depressing. I hate to say it, but find something else to pass the time. To be quite honest, we've been talking about restarting this podcast ever since I've been back. It was a good little push for us to do it because this is something we enjoy. We can't do anything else that we enjoy right now. So, if you got to pick up a different hobby, if you got to pick up, some sort of different activity to pass the time, do it because your mental health, our mental health is super important. People don't give you enough credit for it.
Right.
Kind of one of those things where it's like, you do got to take care of yourself. We get it kind of in that zone of being one-dimensional, seasonal outdoorsman.
Mm-hmm.
And you almost lose yourself when you can't do it.
Yeah, you start feeling a little stuck inside.
Yeah.
I already have that feeling. I'm like, well, now it's just cold and there's nothing to do.
And it's freezing. I mean, we're running the heater in here right now. It's still chilly. Like, it's cold, but it's just like you have that weird inkling that the cold isn't enough and is not going to be good enough. Like, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm going to hold on to a little bit of hope that we're still going to be able to do what we want to do.
You guys just hang with us here, and we'll get through this together.
Yeah.
Grab yourself a good glass of whiskey or beer, wine, whatever you're drinking there, fella or lady, and
Drink it with us.
drink it with us. Salute to you. Oh boy, who's that?
I don't know.
We have some critters crawling in the building here.
We share the little podcast studio with the old hogwashers.
Hogwash.
Hogwash. Let's talk about your little outings with the waterfowl for the first time.
It was fun. This was the first year I got out. I've been wanting to. Last year I really wanted to. Life happens once again. Didn't get to do it. So this year I really made sure. I'm like, as soon as you're back, I want to get out with you. So got to throw. We went out and we shot clays.
Yep.
We probably put
So it's
75 rounds
7,500 rounds a piece through the guns.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, it was good for me to knock the rust off too. But it's always good to go out and shoot before you try to go to actually take an animal.
Mm-hmm. Something I did learn about the gun. You need a different choke tube.
Yeah.
That thing ain't great.
That's something relatively important is, you should pattern your gun.
Mm-hmm.
And we did shoot it one other time out shooting clays.
Mm-hmm.
He shot it really well. Then we pattern it on a piece of cardboard and you realize you're shooting 3 inches high. It's an issue.
Mm-hmm. So fix that, and then I took it out. Bagged a coot.
Yeah, we bagged coot. Yeah, we shot a bunch of coot that day.
Yeah, I think I personally, I think it was hard because there's a lot of us shooting, but I'm pretty sure I shot at least 3 of them.
Yeah,
which is cool because this first hunt. In general, I've never hunted anything in my life really other than fish.
Yeah.
So that was cool. It was fun. I knew I wanted to get into it, and we had a nice spot on the little island there on an undisclosed location.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those like I've always had this like after watching YouTube videos, these sandbar style spreads. Where you can run floaters, and you can run sock decoys, and you can just pile it full. You can pack so many sock decoys in. And we kind of did that. I mean, we probably had, 20, 25 dozen decoys out there with all the socks and everything. And it looked awesome. But like I said, it was local birds. We didn't really have any weather to push new birds down. We had some geese that were interested. We killed one. And we had big rafts of coots. And we kind of just chased the coot down and shot a bunch of them. And for anybody, I mean, everybody in waterfowl rags on the coot. But look up the coot gumbo recipe from Meat Eater because it is actually extremely good.
Little cooter action.
So we're going to do some coot gumbo with the whole squad that was out hunting.
No, it was fun. Anytime I can get outside, doesn't matter. I'm happy. And even not shooting a ton of birds, still happy. And then I went and laid out with you in your field spread there. First time laying in a layout or a layout blind. That was fun. That was a good time. We watched like 500 birds.
I'll plug the video for that in here
Yeah.
because that was a freaking show. They didn't do it right. They hit a different hill in the same field.
Like 150 yards in front of us.
It was so close, and I mean, I just sat and I tried to shred on that call and try to get it to break off and pull down, but they just wanted that hill that day for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of ended up just sitting back and watching this. I mean, just show of birds, you know.
It was pretty fun though, like watching them come in, and then you just heard them. It was like you watched them. They flew in from the one side,
and you know they were locking up. They'd hover over, you know.
And the sound it made was what really got me going. I was like, holy shit! It was just all you could hear was geese
just
honking.
Honk, 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 honk. I mean, it was nuts, and they circled 6, 7, 8 times before they just finally went down.
They kept flying in circles,
and I mean, yeah, it was just a show. It was one of those kind of moments where it's like, I don't really care if I even shoot anything because it was just like, you kind of just watch it. You know, you don't get to see that too many times. Like, a lot of times your field hunts, they come off in small flocks. You know, this was 2 big flocks that ended up joining together, and they just
circled and circled.
I mean, it was crazy.
I just kept snugging down in that little blind to the point where like I could see like this much. It was just like I was peeking, and then I snuck my phone out of my pocket slowly, and I'm just like, just barely had it up. I didn't want the sun to reflect off of it.
Yeah, because that was the shitty thing, was the sun's off to our front right.
So I was like, I held it. I got a horseshit video, but a video nonetheless. I got to kind of get the gist of it, but it was cool. It was fun.
Yeah.
I really had a fun time in that one, and I will definitely do it again.
That was one of those too where it was like Thanksgiving night. It was cold. It was starting to snow, and we were coming back from my in-laws and happened to drive by there, and we're watching them dump into where we have the spread set up currently. So from Thursday, they were going in on the hill that we're set up on. We hunted it Friday morning. Nothing. Kind of came to the conclusion that they're feeding once a day, and they're feeding at like 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So then that afternoon I was at work, and I get a text that says, hey, they're dumping into that field again. Like 3:45. So the next day, me and Danny go out, kind of sit and watch basically the same thing. They all go, you know, they're all doing their thing. They come off. We're trying to call at them, get them to break off. And we kind of just watch this very similar show. And we're like, fuck it, you know, we're going to run it one more time. Hoping they come off in smaller groups and that you can pull them. Same thing. They came off in big groups. And yeah, we just sat and watched the show like 4 o'clock. And they want the field, but they just, for some reason, wanted a different hill. Mm-hmm. And it is what it is. You know, we get to run around a little bit every once in a while. You can't always get it right. It is what it is. But it is cool when you get to watch something like that because you don't get to see that every day.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely a fun... You know, something actually, and this is from, like, listening to different... I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff from, like, Rogan.
Yep.
He made kind of a good point the other day. He was talking about, like, hunting being called a sport. And he didn't really like it being called a sport because it's really like more of a discipline is what he calls it.
It's deeper than that. It's way deeper than that. Like, yes, you're doing
physical.
something for sport, but
yeah,
it's, I mean, we do it more to be outside. We do it to be close to wildlife. We do it because, you know, it's peaceful. You know, like there's so much more than just...
There's a lot of time you get to spend just kind of sitting in some... Whether it's extreme or non-extreme conditions, the extreme for me are the most rewarding. Like the super cold.
Yes.
Is because I'm sitting there and I can like really appreciate being out there, and I make it a point a lot of times to like stop and think about that directly. I'm like,
yeah, because it's easy to get lost in it too. It's like, oh god, this sucks, and it's like, no,
but it doesn't. It doesn't.
Not even kind of.
No, and even like, so we were out and we didn't catch a fish. It didn't matter to me. I
No.
was so enthralled with just being there. I would have sat for another hour and not
Yeah.
caught a fish.
Yeah.
My fucking toes were numb. Um, big call out on corkers, by the way. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna call them out. I spent like $250 on them fucking boots.
Corkers are expensive. I was going to get a pair this year.
And I thought they were the greatest thing. They got the BOA system. That's wonderful. Love that. Love the fit. Love the form. Love the comfortability of it when I'm walking them, and it's fine. But as far as sitting on the ice, man, God, your feet get cold quick. That is a problem. You gotta be.
It's no good.
Yeah, and I think their claim to fame, if I remember right, and don't quote me on it, I thought it was 1,200 gram.
And that's a decent chunk of insulation. I mean, so like I sit back and I think like my lacrosses that I hunt in, I think they're 16, and I sweat bullets in those things. I mean, they're hot. So I'm half tempted to get another pair of lacrosses. I don't like running knee boots when I'm ice fishing. I would much rather have a 6 or an 8-inch ankle boot
Right.
with a BOA, which is why the corkers were cool.
Yeah, and plus they got that little flip down thing so you can pop off your sole and click in your spike soles, but
Yeah, you can put cleats into them,
right.
which is
So,
sweet. Like it's obviously made to be an ice fishing boot,
That's 100%. That's what they marketed as.
but they're not warm enough,
No.
and that's an issue.
So it's like, okay, so are you an ice fishing boot that I have to be on a pad with? Because
So is every other boot
then you should probably include the pad
right?
for that price. No, I have no qualm other than the fact of the warmth, which is arguably one of the most important things. I will take another little
splasharoo
zigzag, little splasharoo here.
The thing is too, like if you're a fair weather ice fishing brand, you also should probably disclose that,
Yeah, if you're
right?
just
Like if
gonna
you're not
market
meant for single digits, so you got to say that.
we
because
were
that
we were still
influences-
above singles though.
Yeah, we were like 11 or 12 that day.
The wind chill was bad, but also we had the hub
Right.
or the pullover.
Yeah, flip over. Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe somebody's got an answer to that, or maybe my feet are just naturally cold, but I don't think so. But if you're looking into corkers, they're a pretty good boot, other than like that factor. Usually, though, I will say if the heat is on, my feet generally fare a little bit better.
That's the other
it's-
thing too. Is like at the end
It's
of
not
the
a
day,
lot though.
we brought one heater with us. Danny was using it in the single man flip over. Like, yes, we were in an insulated flip over, but like it was cold. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we had the heat on, it probably wouldn't have been an issue.
That's arguable though.
Yeah,
I still have had
speculation.
cold feet.
Yeah,
Last season, I was severely disappointed. For the price point they're at, I expect my feet just not to get cold.
250s. I mean, that's an investment. That's an investment for a lot of people. That's a chunk of change.
Yep.
For it to not to live up to the hype.
So I don't know. Maybe I got a faulty pair. But if that's the case,
if other people have that same experience, or if you have other ideas, plug them in, because
if anybody's run the corkers here, hit us up on Burley Outdoors on the Facebook group there. Let us know. I'd be curious just to see if anybody else has had problems with it. Mm-hmm. Nobody likes cold feet, especially not at a wedding.
no, or at
I wouldn't wear them to a wedding.
funeral.
Yeah, don't get cold feet at a funeral or a wedding.
No, cold feet are one of the worst things in the world. I mean,
it
that will
sucks.
single-handedly ruin an outing.
I even had my woolies on. God damn it! Now that being said, I could
I was
probably.
just gonna say, you did say you had wet woolies before you even
They weren't wet.
wet woolly.
They were moist.
Wet woolly.
They were moist, but I don't know. Maybe you just need to wear better wool socks. I don't have the greatest wool socks either.
I think that another thing, if you guys have a brand of socks,
Hit us up.
I like the darn toughs. That's what I hunt in normally.
Gosh darn tough, I tell ya.
They are gosh darn tough.
Can't beat that.
But I'm not 100% sure that they're the best for that situation either. They're very good for hunting. I love them in my waders. I love them, like I'll wear them in the field. I will wear them down to single digits, but not standing on ice. I'm not 100% sure that they're the best fit for, having your feet directly on cold ice. That's just part of the game too, is like we're exposing ourselves to the gnarliest of gnarly conditions. Like,
love it.
It's not just cold. It's like you're going to put yourself on a floating block of like an ice cube.
And you're standing on it directly. Yeah. And I know like probably to like be a devil's advocate for Corker, I guess, in the same sense that I just bashed him a little bit. The argument can always be made that you can stand on those foam pads and they make significant difference. Yes. Because I've also talked to people who do have like substantially higher rated insulation boots whose feet still get cold.
Or who still use foam pads, or, like they're doing a lot of other things to
mitigate it. Yeah. So if that's the argument, then so be it. It is what it is. I still like the boot in general. It's just the cold feet thing. Maybe you should just bump it up another.
1200 feels low for being specifically an ice boot.
Right. And I don't remember 100. I could just probably use the computer in my pocket to figure out what the hell the user actually rated for.
Because my thought is like, for lacrosse to come out with a boot that's designated for waterfowl and to be 1600, and then for somebody to be like, oh yeah, this is an ice fishing boot, and to be less warm than something that doesn't need to be as warm.
Right.
Like, that's crazy.
Cozy fleece lined waterproof full grip. They got a lot of stuff. Ice fishing right there. These are the ones that I've... There she be. Nope, that ain't it. See if I can... There it is. Yeah, 1200.
What's
for $239.99. 600.
Burr.
Well, now I'm wondering. I'm almost positive about the 1200. I don't think they had the 600 when I bought them.
What color are yours? Are they all black?
Same. No, mine are those. Mine are the 1200. That's exactly what mine are. And they
do have all blacks in the 1200 too.
Yeah, the women's.
Oh, that's what.
So the cool thing about them is, I get it, it's the sole, but the sole only goes so far when your feet are cold.
That can't be the sole benefit.
Sole benefit. You got to put a little.
We got a little
riff button there. No, so we're back in the saddle. We're gonna try and keep this waterfowl up. It is the holiday season.
Yes.
So
show us a little grace.
Yep.
There's a lot of juggling going on. Work gets really busy. Meat market gets crazy. We are gonna do our best. We'll get these up in a timely manner.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to record every week. If we miss one, I'm sorry.
Also, let us know if there's any interests to talk about or anything you want to hear more or less about. And what I'd like to try to do is maybe find some local tournaments and stuff, talk about those.
Yes.
Try and maybe get the Southern Minnesota...
the crowd hyped up a little bit, get them a little interested.
Yeah.
We might enter into some of the fish donkey tournaments.
That'd be cool.
Do some of the online stuff.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We've talked about that in the past. I think that's a cool option. If we can, if we do end up with good ice, we might enter ourselves into some panfish tournaments.
Might just do it.
Might
just touch.
Also, we got some cool stuff that's in the works on having guests come on.
Yes. We talked about it last season. We were newbies.
Yep.
Little green behind the ears. We're learning as we go. We're just two dudes who like to hunt, fish, be outside, camping, all that type of deal. So we're just kind of picking it up on it as it comes. So.
Yeah. And I will say, like, this whole Canada venture, as much as you bitch about me not being able to do this,
Asshole.
I know it sucked.
There's that cough again.
Jeepers, you need to get that checked out. We got some cool opportunities out of it. Mm-hmm. I've met a lot of really, really cool people. A lot of people who are interested in coming on here and talking with us for whatever reason. We're just two freaking jabronis that just like this stuff. But that's kind of how this is how the whole like circle community works. Like, it's tight knit. Everybody has been so freaking nice. Like, people that I've looked up to as like celebrities in this like side of things have turned into some like actually solid friends of mine, and they want to come on and support this and do this with us, and like, that's cool.
Yep. It's more than we could have expected. Honestly, what we started it as and are going to continue doing is this is just for funds. We kind of like just talking our shit anyways. We did it every Wednesday. We did workshop Wednesdays at my house in the shop area there, and it turned into a podcast. So if you're interested, you want to just kind of bullshit with a couple of guys and you need something to listen to, I think that's your ticket here. And
that's all we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
You know, and like, at the end of the day, like, may we have some relatively big names on? Yeah, maybe. But at the end of the day, like, those people are just no different than us. That's why they want to do it.
Right.
You know, like...
Well, they started somewhere.
Yeah. And
they started where we're at. They
just
started just bullshitting.
It comes full circle. It brings them back to, like, we're all just people who love doing this. You know, like, I have phone conversations with these people for half hour, 45 minutes, just talking. Mm-hmm. That's all this is. I mean, we've been doing this for a little over an hour. We just come on, we talk what we love.
Yeah, and that's, if you enjoy it, we appreciate you. Let your friends know if this was an interest for you guys and you enjoyed it before. We're going to bring the same stuff to the table we did and then some this time.
Just a little different table.
Yeah, little different table. We're not sitting at the big square table in my garage anymore. We're in a cold little shop.
Tiny little shop.
That cold. Max said was going to be heated better than what it is. And I should have not believed him, but I did.
Don't trust me.
Yeah, the asshole. I said, I don't like cold feet, and sure shit, my feet are cold.
Yeah, shouldn't have worn your corkers.
I ain't wearing corkers this time. Now I should have worn. You got the work boots on, hot off the press here.
Just fresh off of work, we came straight to do this. We were too damn excited.
Yeah, we wanted to bring it back. Back in the saddle, get it going again. Might not necessarily be every Wednesday anymore. Life happens. Once again, get over it. Just kidding. Love you, but
we're gonna try. Whatever happens, happens.
If we gotta do it, we're just gonna pick it up. I hope to maintain a once a week type of deal. It's just kind of whatever day works once a week.
The big thing is, at the end of the day, is like we're in a different life point. Like, Wednesdays at 9:00 and getting shit faced afterwards. Not in the cards anymore.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing it.
We did have a lot of fun. Life is just a little different now. Still want to do it. It might be, we're recording at 3:00 today. Mm-hmm. It might be that instead.
Yep.
Who cares?
Yeah. And if you guys don't like the content or think we should keep getting drunk, call my wife and Max's wife and let them know that.
Talk to the bosses.
The bosses are in charge. So, well,
I think on that note,
I think we head her to a close. We hope to see you guys next week. We'll get this posted when we can. I'm guessing it'll probably be a day or two from now. It's Wednesday.
Yeah, I think we got a new little editing software and version stuff, so we should be able to get it up in a timely manner.
Yep.
That being said, the YouTube stuff is new. I don't know what that's going to look like. It'll go up when it goes up. Hope people watch it.
Yeah, we were on YouTube before. We just didn't have the video.
Correct.
So we're adding video
audio,
to it.
So we'll just have the video on it now.
Yeah. So give us a little bit of grace on this episode. Once you hear it, it'll probably be a few days after what we did. But we love you guys for listening. Let everybody know we're back.
We back.
And we'll see you next week. Cheers, guys. Be safe out there.
Toodaloo. Love ya.
Appreciate it. Cheers, buddy.